Every night was a war.
I don't regret leaving, but I regret how I did it.
And what I meant was, out of Bon Jovi.
You know, it's 11 years ago now.
For over a decade, the entire music world had to live in a mysterious silence following the historic 2013 defection.
Richie Sambora decided just not to show up one night, but we had 80 more shows.
But turning 67, legendary guitarist Richie Sambora decided that he could no longer keep the truth secret, even one more time.
Imagine the piracy. It was just insane.
Oh, yeah. No one wants to hear us complain about the money we lost.
It's true.
Every velvet curtain behind Jon Bon Jovi, the rock leader adored by millions, is now stripped bare. Is Jon a genius, steering a multi-hundred-million-dollar empire, or a cold-hearted manager who inadvertently pushed his soulmate into tragedy? The never-before-published hidden corners of the shocking defection, the life-and-death tragedy of losing his voice, and the steep price behind the spotlight will officially come to light right here. Don't look away.
That was one of the days.
The biggest challenge was the first couple of shows when you saw the "Where's Richie" sign.
April 2nd, 2013 became the most shocking landmark date in the more than three-decade history of the band Bon Jovi. The global tour, named Because We Can, was at a spectacularly explosive stage with hundreds of thousands of tickets completely sold out. The Scotiabank Saddle Dome Arena in the city of Calgary, Canada, was packed with over 16,000 passionate fans, anxiously awaiting the opening hour. Still just a few hours before the stage lights flared up, an unprecedented crisis occurred right backstage.
There's 120 people whose families depend on a paycheck for a year, and the record company that was having an album come in at #1 on that Tuesday.
Lead guitarist Richie Sambora vanished completely without sending any notice or making a call to the band members. No one among the organizers or the management team could reach the teammate who had been alongside Jon for 31 years. Facing overwhelming pressure from the massive crowd and the organizers, Jon Bon Jovi was forced to step onto the stage alone. The band leader solemnly announced that Richie Sambora could not appear that night due to extremely sudden personal reasons. In order to salvage the high-stakes tour, Jon Bon Jovi quickly reached out and hired guitarist Phil X as an emergency replacement that very night. The band continued its massive commercial touring journey, but completely devoid of the iconic melodies from Richie's guitar. The lead guitarist's sudden absence immediately erupted across international media, generating a major storm.
And it was the shock was when he didn't show up and the issues that he was having again. And that was the shock, and then that was the disappointment.
Press and public opinion relentlessly put forward negative theories involving addiction or fierce internal financial disputes. Nonetheless, the true nature of this shocking departure stemmed from deep rifts in artistic creativity. All the disagreements accumulated over many years reached a boiling point during the production of their 12th studio album, What About Now? Jon Bon Jovi, together with producer John Shanks, quietly completed most of the songs on their own without Richie's involvement. The legendary guitarist was only handed back the finished tracks to record supplementary instrument parts as requested. This exclusion from a direct creative role made Richie Sambora feel deeply insulted regarding the new musical direction. The guitarist candidly expressed his dissatisfaction to the band leader. "It doesn't sound like Bon Jovi at all." Alongside the fierce musical disagreements, the core reason that led Richie to make such a sudden decision stemmed from his family. His only daughter, Ava Sambora, was going through an extremely severe mental health crisis at that time. After decades of continuously prioritizing physically grueling tours, Richie realized he needed to be by his daughter's side. He firmly chose the responsibilities of a father over continuing to serve Jon Bon Jovi's relentless business machine. The mid-tour defection of his close teammate left Jon Bon Jovi feeling deeply betrayed and angry. The band leader repeatedly criticized Richie for being unprofessional across news media outlets, for a long time. Rebutting the harsh allegations from the band leader Richie Sambora, affirmed that this was by no means an impulsive act. He opened up during a press interview that was the culmination of 31 years of pent-up frustration and broken communication. When his most loyal teammate walked away, Jon Bon Jovi still carried on with the engine of his empire. But what he did not expect was that fate was preparing to deal the most painful blow to his very ultimate weapon.
Another singer making news, Palm Beach's resident Jon Bon Jovi, who abruptly ended his concert last night at Madison Square Garden.
A life and death surgery. After Richie Sambora's departure, Jon Bon Jovi continued to steer the band's brand through the albums Burning Bridges and This House Is Not for Sale. Even so, the pressure of continuous performances began to show severe damage to the band leader's vocals. More than 3 decades of relentlessly shouting on massive stadium stages at an intense frequency had eroded Jon's vocal cords to an alarming level. On live stages, Jon Bon Jovi completely lost the ability to hit the iconic high notes that once made the band's name. Classic masterpieces like Livin' on a Prayer or Bad Medicine repeatedly had to be transposed to the lowest key so that he could keep up. The peak of the disaster occurred during the nationwide tour launched in early 2022 in North America. A wave of prestigious publications and international music critics simultaneously issued harsh criticism over the male singer's tragically deteriorating vocal quality. Realizing he could no longer cover up his physical decline, Jon Bon Jovi was forced to seek out top ear, nose, and throat specialists. The subsequent medical diagnostic results revealed a shocking truth regarding the condition of his vocal cords.
Day to day.
Yeah.
It's up to God at this point. You know, I've done everything I can do. Vocal therapy.
One of Jon's 2 vocal cords was severely atrophied and had completely lost its natural ability to contract. This degeneration prevented the 2 vocal cords from closing tightly together, as air passed through, eliminating his ability to produce precise sounds. Medical reports pointed out that the stronger vocal cord was working twice as hard to compensate for the damaged muscle. This condition distorted the structure of his pharynx, directly threatening his ability to speak normally, let alone sing. Facing the risk of permanent voice loss, Jon Bon Jovi decided to take a gamble on a risky vocal cord implant surgery in the summer of 2022. Doctors performed a thyroplasty procedure to insert an artificial implant in order to restore his throat structure. Opening up about his dire medical condition to the press, Jon Bon Jovi choked back tears as he shared, "The side of my vocal cord was completely atrophied one side, as paper-thin as a sheet pinched between 2 fingers." After the complex surgery, the singer had to endure a long therapy process with grueling rehabilitation exercises. Being unable to utter a sound for months on end plunged the 60-year-old leader into psychological crises and severe depression. The future of the Bon Jovi music empire was placed on red alert, as doctors could not guarantee a full recovery. Jon had to face the bitter reality that his professional touring journey might have closed forever. Throughout the darkest phase of his life, his high school sweetheart wife, Dorothea Hurley, served as his strongest emotional pillar. She patiently stood by his side, cared for him, and helped Jon overcome the breakdown of stepping away from the spotlight. Alongside his medical battle, Jon brushed aside the media noise to seek peace within his small family. He happily embraced a new milestone when his son, Jake Bon Jovi, got engaged and married famous actress Millie Bobby Brown. Everything seemed to have fallen quiet, with time and physical pain, until the 40th anniversary documentary was released, triggering an unprecedentedly candid response from the 67-year-old guitarist. The truth behind the curtain. In April 2024, the 4-part documentary titled "Thank You Goodnight: The Bon Jovi Story" officially aired on the Hulu streaming platform. The work exposed the entire naked truth behind bandleader Jon Bon Jovi's painful vocal cord recovery battle. The film not only documented the arduous medical journey, but also dug up never-before-published hidden corners within the band. Smoldering conflicts, autocratic power, and the sudden departures of members were all brought into the media spotlight. Although agreeing to appear in the film to share his personal perspective, Richie Sambora quickly expressed deep disappointment after the work aired. The legendary guitarist believed that the film was overly directed toward the biased perspective of bandleader Jon. According to Richie, the film focused too heavily on personal dramatic conflicts and Jon Bon Jovi's harsh power control. That inadvertently overshadowed the magical music and sacred emotions the group had once brought to millions of fans. Turning 67, Richie Sambora decided to break more than a decade of silence with direct statements in the music press. He appeared in the prestigious Guitar Player magazine to clarify all the fabricated rumors that had emerged over many years. Directly opening up about his complex relationship with his former leader, the 67-year-old guitarist did not hesitate to make a blunt declaration: "If anyone told Jon the truth, it was me." Richie Sambora once again emphasized that he never regretted the decision to walk away from the tour in Calgary in 2013. Sacrificing his peak career to save his daughter Ava Sambora's life from a mental health crisis was the best choice of his life. In press interviews, Richie dissected Jon Bon Jovi's true character from the perspective of a longtime teammate. He acknowledged Jon as a leader with an extraordinary work ethic, always a perfectionist, and fully dedicated to music. Still, the dark side of Jon's management style was turning their initial close friendship into a cold, demanding business enterprise. Every artistic or financial decision was manipulated by a unilateral power structure, crushing free creativity. On Jon Bon Jovi's side, the band officially released its 16th studio album titled Forever in June 2024. This was seen as an extraordinary effort by the male singer to mark his return after high-risk vocal cord surgery. Although the album received positive feedback from critics, Jon Bon Jovi still could not organize long-term global tours. The 62-year-old bandleader's vocal cords still could not fully recover to handle the continuous performance frequency. Jon Bon Jovi accepted the reality that he had to slow down focus on vocal therapy and enjoy a peaceful family life. He maintained charitable activities and brand management instead of risking his health on big stages. Even though history between the two is filled with wounds and disappointment, Richie Sambora still unexpectedly left the door open for a reunion. The guitarist affirmed that his love for Bon Jovi's musical legacy has never been extinguished in his heart. Expressing his desire for a future reunion, Richie shared with the media, "I'm ready to step onto the stage with Jon again. Not for money or fame, but for the fans who made us." Bon Jovi's journey of over 4 decades is not just a story about classic rock tracks, but also a tragedy of swapping friendship for a commercial empire. To truly understand the nature of Richie Sambora's sharp reflections at age 67, the timeline must rewind to the moment Jon Bon Jovi began turning the band into a cold commercial corporation, sowing the seeds for irreparable power rifts. Cracks from the dark side. In 2000, the release of their 7th studio album, Crush, created a massive commercial boom on a global scale. The lead single, It's My Life, became a classic hit, powerfully bringing the band's name to a younger generation of listeners. Behind this brilliant musical success, nonetheless, lay an extremely harsh organizational restructuring. Jon Bon Jovi made a bold decision to restructure the entire band into a commercial business corporation. Under the new model, the Bon Jovi brand was legalized as an independent business enterprise, with Jon serving as chairman and CEO. The remaining members, including Richie Sambora, were gradually pushed from musical soulmates down to the role of partners or hired employees. The bandleader publicly affirmed this commercial operating principle in the news media at the time. "Bon Jovi is not just a band. This is a big business named after me." This division of power began sowing seeds of smoldering rifts. Entering the mid-2000s, while John reaped commercial success, Richie Sambora's personal life plunged into tragedy. The 13-year marriage between him and actress Heather Locklear officially collapsed in 2007. A media storm quickly erupted when Richie publicly dated actress Denise Richards right after the divorce. Notably, Denise was his ex-wife's closest friend, drawing relentless, harsh criticism and judgment from international press and public opinion. Psychological pressure from personal scandals, combined with a severe leg injury, pushed the guitarist into a downward spiral. Richie began depending heavily on hard liquor and high-dose painkillers to soothe both his physical and emotional pain. In March 2008, Richie Sambora's personal scandal reached its peak when he was arrested by California police for driving under the influence (DUI). Notably, at the time of the arrest, the male artist's young daughter Ava and a friend were also in the car. His declining physical condition forced Richie into repeated hospital checkups and mandatory rehab programs in 2007 and 2011. Unstable health caused him to miss many crucial show nights on the Circle Tour. The instability of his longtime teammate left Jon Bon Jovi feeling deeply disappointed and stressed. The demanding leader accepted no disruption that could impact the operating schedule and commercial reputation of the music corporation. Alongside that, the gap in status and wealth between the two stars grew noticeably wider. Jon Bon Jovi continuously achieved stellar success in the business world thanks to lucrative real estate investments and his ownership of the Philadelphia Soul football team. The disparity in financial strength further solidified Jon's absolute authority in artistic decisions. The singer began tightening control over the music production process and proactively expanded collaboration with outside producer John Shanks. The arrival of John Shanks deeply interfered with Bon Jovi's traditional songwriting structure. Jon Bon Jovi gradually sidelined Richie Sambora's exclusive co-writing role, turning him from a primary songwriter into a guitarist who merely recorded tracks. Dissatisfied with the changes in the studio, Richie Sambora once lamented to the press about the creative rift. "We used to sit down and write music with our entire souls, but now everything is reduced to numbers and industrial processes." By late 2012, the relationship between the band's two pillars had deteriorated to an all-time low. Financial conflicts, songwriting, authoritarianism, and accumulated personal tragedies formed a powder keg waiting to explode. Behind the cold swap of friendship for a business corporation was a golden memory that was once purely sacred. Rewinding to the opening chapter of the legendary alliance between two New Jersey boys, where the Bon Jovi empire was officially born. The Blood Contract. In 1983, in the industrial town of Sayreville, New Jersey, young John Francis Bon Jovi Jr., commonly known by his stage name Jon Bon Jovi, decided to lay the very first foundations for a rock band bearing his own name. The arrival of talented guitarist Richie Sambora shortly after completed the ultimate life-or-death puzzle piece. This connection quickly laid the foundation for one of the greatest songwriting alliances in modern music history. The harmonious combination of John's energetic vocals and Richie's powerful guitar sounds repeatedly birthed a series of immortal masterpieces such as "Livin' on a Prayer," "Wanted Dead or Alive," and "You Give Love a Bad Name." In 1986, their third studio album, "Slippery When Wet," was released and created a global commercial earthquake. The work quickly dominated the #1 spot on the Billboard 200 chart for 8 consecutive weeks, selling over 28 million copies. The musical frenzy continued to erupt violently 2 years later with the release of their fourth studio album, New Jersey, in 1988. The album made history by becoming the hard rock record with the most top 10 singles. Still, the price paid for the brilliant spotlight was a brutally relentless tour schedule. The band had to perform over 200 continuous shows each year, spanning from North America and Europe to Asia. The grueling work intensity alongside immense media pressure drove all 5 members into physical exhaustion and severe emotional breakdowns. Relationships among the members began to show their first tensions. Amidst a career at its glittering peak, while under strict supervision from the management team, Jon Bon Jovi made a bold personal decision, causing a major shock to the entire media ecosystem. In April 1989, during a hectic tour, Jon secretly slipped away to Las Vegas. He held a low-key wedding ceremony with his high school girlfriend, Dorothea Hurley, at the historic Graceland Wedding Chapel. This impulsive act met with fierce backlash and anger from both the management company and the record labels. Strategic teams panicked over fears that the marriage would ruin his charming bachelor image in the eyes of fans. In spite of heavy pressure from the media machine, Jon Bon Jovi remained steadfast in defending his choice. He publicly declared to the press, "I have nothing to hide. I got married because she is my only anchor." Entering the early 1990s with the albums Keep the Faith and These Days, the band continued to affirm its top position, while transitioning into a more mature and soulful alternative rock style. Throughout this golden era, Richie Sambora consistently served as the musical pillar and the strongest support for Jon Bon Jovi. Richie's soulful guitar playing was the very spirit upholding Jon's vocals on every stage. The story between Jon Bon Jovi and Richie Sambora is not just a lesson about music, but also a bitter tragedy of trading friendship for a million-dollar empire. Will time heal enough for the two legends to step onto the stage together one last time? What do you think about Richie Sambora's choice or Jon Bon Jovi's strict management style? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below to join the community discussion. If you found this video engaging and valuable, please hit like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next exciting music profiles.